Welcome to Comics with Dan. This is the Comics Commute number 8, which puts us at 2 months of the channel being live, which is exciting. I'm glad people are enjoying the Comics Commute videos. I get a decent amount of interaction, at least as far as my numbers are concerned, from the Comics Commute videos, so I'm glad that they're being well received. So as far as variety, I haven't read a ton of different things this week. I read Warworld by Philip Kennedy Johnson, the Superman in Action Comics, which was fantastic. It was a modern classic. I started up on Volume 3 of Jeff Johns' Green Lantern, which truthfully has been an upgrade over Volumes 1 and 2, so I'm happy about that. Although it's still not getting that really classic feel that everyone seems to say that it has. But then I also, my pulls from last week, I read Nightwing, World's Finest, The Displaced, and Night Thrasher. So we can get into those. Unfortunately, this week, I do not have any pulls on my pull list, which is a very sad feeling. Just didn't work out that way. And rather than go hunt for some back issues in place of those pulls, I decided that I was going to upgrade my setup. So I got myself a new microphone, which is exciting. I can't use it during the Comics Commute videos, but I'll use it for the other videos that I'll be posting. Speaking of, I am putting together a video about Superman and Captain America, which I think is a good one. It's not super long or anything. It's about 5 minutes, so just a quick little kind of profile about how what I admire about the characters and the similarities and differences between the two of them. Kind of inspired by me reading Warworld, so and having read quite a bit of Captain America as well. So the Warworld saga. To be honest, when I started it, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if it was going to really, hit home for me. It seemed a little bit out there, just sort of, Superman going out to Warworld. He doesn't seem to be wearing. He's not wearing his classic suit the entire time. He's doesn't have his powers. It's on paper. It doesn't seem like something that should work all that well. But it was fantastic. What's interesting to me is that it was told over a period of, I think, around a year and a half, which to me is a long form story when you're talking about comics. I know there have been longer than that. You get like Claremont, who had X-Men for years and years and years, had some really long, slow burn stories in there. But over a year and a half, I mean, when you're getting an issue every month, that's kind of that's a good split, or a good wait in between each one. But so what I really enjoyed about it was just this modern epic. I really got feelings of, for some reason, it felt a lot like Lord of the Rings, and I think the reason for that was the war zones really reminded me of kind of like the orcs, and Mongol really had that Sauron sort of feeling, that overarching big bad villain that it's kind of this mystical, like, how could anybody possibly defeat him type of thing. So that relation, I think, was really cool, and it helped build into that modern epic that I think PKJ was going for. The build-up, I mean, the entire first trade was really just build-up, and he doesn't get to Warworld until the end of the first trade. So there was no rushing this, which was good, because it needed that slow burn. And you could argue that a story where Superman helps those that are in need and rescues a group of people, it's like, okay, well, like, that's been done 1,000 times, but this really had a different feel to it, especially all the kind of build up that he had in that first trade. I don't want to put any spoilers in here because I really want to I want everyone to go check out the Warworld saga. I mean, I borrowed them from the library, but once there's an omnibus out of this, I'm absolutely going to be picking it up because it was just fantastic. I mean, if you like sort of the more high fantasy stuff, it doesn't have those sort of mystical, magical elements that you get in that kind of thing, but it has the sort of it feels like a legend. It has that feel in the story, so I definitely worth checking out. So far, Green Lantern Volume 3 by Jeff Johns, I've enjoyed it a bit more. There was really minor build up to the Sinestro War in the second volume. You got the occasional cutaway where we had someone getting recruited into the Sinestro Corps. I think part of my issue, and this was my same issue with Volume 2, is that I don't know what I'm supposed to already know at this point. So at the time, maybe there was no Sinestro Corps, and this gathering of all these different characters and giving them yellow power rings would have been just incredibly exciting. I already know that there's a Sinestro Corps, so it just doesn't hit me the same way. So I'm trying to give it the benefit of the doubt because I do like Johns, and I think he's just I think a lot of his other work's really good. I'm just I think maybe I'm lacking some context, but that goes back to what I said about Volume 2, is that this run gets suggested by anyone that wants you to that if you're picking up Green Lantern for the first time. And so I have only really read Green Lantern from team books and other sources, right? TV shows, movies, that kind of thing. So it's not like I have some expansive Green Lantern knowledge, but I also already feel like anything that's supposed to be a big reveal isn't that big of a reveal to me. I do really like Sinestro, how Johns writes Sinestro. I mean, he's a pretty menacing villain, and I really like the way that he sort of manipulates and really preys on fear, as you would expect the Yellow Lanterns to do. But it just feels really well done. I get like a sort of like a Loki vibe from him, because he sort of manipulates and uses speech to sort of get under the skin of his opponents. So Sinestro's a really great villain. So I'm excited to see how Volume 3 ends. I think I'm going to like it a lot more than I liked Volume 1 and 2. Nightwing 112 was pretty good. I really like when Tom Taylor writes relationship stuff. His Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon, at least the beginning, was really good. It sort of fizzled out a bit for me. She seems as sort of like a replaceable background tech character at this point, where you could put anyone at Oracle's desk in the latter half of his Nightwing series, and you're not really gonna notice the difference. The one thing that I'm a little annoyed about is Dick went off on this adventure, the pirate adventure with B. Bennett. Barbara's upset either upset or worried that Dick's taking his mask, or taking her out of his mask. And you get the idea that there's going to be a sort of issue between Barbara and Dick whenever he gets back, but literally nothing happened. I mean, if they don't want to address it immediately, that's fine, but say something about it. You know, they're acting like everything's perfectly normal. It felt a little bit like a fake out, and not the kind that you like. But Tom Taylor does write good relationship stuff a lot of the time. In this issue, it's a relationship stuff between Batman and Nightwing, which is good. My issue with this particular issue is that it feels like Tom Taylor doesn't think that his readers are smart enough to understand what he's saying, so he feels the need to have the characters say it. At the end, Nightwing says something to the effect of, Batman always took care of me. He says it out loud to this kid, which seems like a strange thing to say to begin with, but also it feels very forced. It feels like Tom Taylor needs us to know that this is what he means and doesn't trust us to get there on our own, which is a really frustrating thing to have as a reader. One of my biggest pet peeves is being sort of babied when it comes to reading. Readers are smarter than I think authors give credit for. So I think they need to kind of just let it ride, and if someone doesn't get it, then it's on them. I do think that the Fallen Grayson arc is going to be really good. I like this build up to it. I thought we were going to get some Heartless in this arc, but I don't think we're going to until the Fallen Grayson arc. The Displaced #2 was awesome. Another really good issue. There's not a whole lot of beating around the bush. We don't need a whole lot of exterior issues, problems, whatever. The problem that these characters have is bad enough that their entire city has disappeared and that no one is remembering them. We're starting to get into the human nature side of if a tragedy like this occurred, seeing how different types of people with different moral compasses would react. Again, I'm not going to do any spoilers for this one. This is definitely one you should add to your pull list. Definitely go check it out. It's fantastic. World's Finest #25, an anniversary issue. It was pretty good. This was definitely a different issue. In the main issue, if I am thinking about it correctly, I don't think that Batman and Superman show up at all in the main story of the issue. This honestly almost felt a little bit more like an annual should, but we just had the annual in January. So, but this felt a little bit more like that. The issue focuses on the first meeting of Lex Luthor and Joker, which at first, the initial feeling I had towards it when I was reading it was that the dialogue between the Joker and Lex Luthor was just a little bit awkward. But as the issue went along, I enjoyed it more and more. And by the end, I thought that their interactions with each other were great. It's definitely one worth picking up. If you haven't been pulling World's Finest, this would be the time to do it. Because this story requires no prior reading. And the story at the end, which is sort of a prelude to this Fifth Dimension imp stuff with Mr. Mxyzptlk and Batmite, it's a prelude, so there's no prior reading required for that, although possibly getting the annual might help with some context there, but even then I don't think you really need it. So if World's Finest is not on your pull list and you've been wanting to pull it, 25 is a good place to start. We have Night Thrasher number 2, which gets into some heavy stuff when we're talking about the gentrification of the neighborhood of Harlem. You see all these, fancy stores, people, shopping around, things like that. And Rage doesn't take very kindly to that. Feels like it's his neighborhood, rightfully so. And so he wants to take it back. Now, obviously, is Rage going about that the proper way? No. Stealing stuff and violence, that's not the correct way to go about that. And then we get Night Thrasher trying to combat that and making things worse. So I think that we're in for an interesting second half of this series. Just because I feel like the problem has taken a turn that I didn't expect. And I'm interested to see what route Holtham takes whenever he finishes up this story. Because I feel like there's a few ways to go. He threw a curveball, I think, in this second issue. So it's another good one. I wouldn't say it's one that you absolutely have to grab. If you want to wait for the trade, I think that would probably be perfectly fine. But it is pretty good, and it would at least be worth Marvel Unlimited checkout once it's on there. And I think that's it for the commute this week. And I don't have anything else to talk about. Like I said, I have a Captain America and Superman video that I'm working on. Hopefully, maybe this weekend I'll have it out. And if you're enjoying these videos, please subscribe. We're at, as of right now, we're at 45 subscribers, which is exciting and cool, and I'm grateful for every single one. But we can keep growing the channel. So make sure you like the video, comment, subscribe, get me cooked into the algorithm. So I appreciate the support already, and thanks for watching.